My people, what's going on? Episode 55 of the Dome Podcast. Here today, my partner in crime, Vay from That Time in Hip Hop. Dude, we're going to let you just talk about all your stuff in a few minutes too, man. You know what I'm saying? But we're here today to talk about, the 90s. We romanticize a little bit, kind of way NBA fans romanticize about Magic and Bird. You know what I'm saying? We love that. We love that decade. People compare that decade to the 80s. 10 years in the 80s was fabulous. The 90s was fabulous. I even think the first 10 years of the 2000s is underrated. You know what I'm saying? And we'll talk about that at some point, man. But with the 90s, man, you know what I'm saying? You overlook the last year leading up to that old Y2K shit that it was telling us about, Vague, when they told us the whole world was going to shut down. Real quick, man, what did you think about Y2K when that whole phenomenon started going on, man?
I remember hearing about it so much, and I started thinking, like, damn, it's kind of market employee because, like, everybody was using it from wrestling to everything. And I remember doing some research, and I was like, but why wouldn't they prepare for that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, something like that, you know it's going to happen.
Right.
Why wouldn't you prepare for that? So when it kind of fizzled at midnight and everybody thought the world was going to shut down,
you know what?
Nothing happened.
What was so funny, real quick, man, was I remember watching with my lady at the time. She was like, "We need to go buy all this stuff." I was like, "I ain't buying nothing." You know what I'm saying? So we watching the New Year's joint in New York, and you from up there, man. By like 1 o'clock, the streets was empty because everybody thought this big thing was gonna happen. And after it went midnight, they had the little couple of songs and all that. Everybody started going home. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was like, I said, listen. Do you think for 1 minute that a clock or some time is going to change and the world shuts down? I said, do you understand how many people on life support and they were at hospitals all over the world? I said, do you understand that would never happen? I was telling people that leading up to it. I said, I ain't buying no extra water. I ain't buying no extra batteries. I ain't buying nothing because there's nothing going to happen. And it was this big letdown. People writing books, people getting rich off selling all this nonsense and survival kits like Doomsday. Oh my God, man! Capitalism at its finest, Vague. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, it was so crazy. I mean, if you're young and you were born after that, you don't even understand, man.
It was nuts.
People were shook. Like
people was building underground bunkers, man. You know what I'm saying? And renovating old World War II bunkers like some atomic bombs gonna be dropped.
Right.
And like it was the craziest thing, man. But real quick too, man, because Vague, man, has a lot of great things going on his platforms, man. We're gonna talk about that at the end of the episode as well. But I want to make sure I acknowledge that, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But as of 1999, I want to talk about that year because most people talk about in the 90s, 1994, because of course, Ready to Die, Illmatic, the emergence of Outkast, and I'm down here in North Carolina, so who's happy about Outkast and Red Man. It was a big year in 1994. I think Murder Was the Cabinet. Snoop was still popping off. You know what I'm saying? After having a fantastic 92 and 93. You know what I'm saying, with hip hop, and then the Hip Hop War in 1996 was actually episode 1 of the Dawn podcast from last year. We talked about how amazing 1996 was, and this tension going on between commercial, underground, and everything like that. We've talked about the Shiny Suit year, not era. You can check that episode out with me and Kill about 1997. We know 1998 is probably one of the most underrated years in the 90s or in hip hop, period. But a few things happened, and a lot of things happened in 1999. Vega, I want to talk about, you know what I'm saying? We'll talk about some great albums, some great songs, and how this was a pivotal year because there's a few things I'm going to bring up that if it wouldn't have happened the way it happened, the whole trajectory of a few mega stars and some even television programs might not be here. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get into one thing first real quick. In 1999, everybody know Dr. Dre finally came back with the Chronic 2001, right? But before that, his new protege, this young battle MC named Marshall Mathers, came out with the Slim Shady LP because before that he had the Slim Shady EP with several songs on there that they ended up doing some record and put his debut album together. So where were you at, man, the first time you heard My Name Is on MTV? Did you hear that first, then say, who is this dude? And then you heard the album, and then what was you thinking when you heard Eminem first?
The first, I had heard him before, Infinite and all of that, but
Yeah,
it was kind of like you heard him, but it didn't stick with you, And I didn't put two and two together when he was with Dr. Dre, like, oh, it's the same cat, because he was so different.
Yep.
But the first time I heard him was Guilty Conscious, and it was the video. And the visuals can put an impression on you, when you watching it. Because at first I'm like, damn, this is different. Dr. Dre with this white boy.
Yeah.
This shit quirky and funny, but it's kind of like storytelling. Like it was kind of fun in a weird way. When I heard it, I liked it a lot because I thought it was funny, and like I know that's a part of hip hop also. We've had dudes who are just humorous, whether that's their whole album or they're humorous on a couple of tracks. So for me, it was more so like once I heard that, it was looking at Dr. Dre in a different light, right? He was like, even like the dude who slapped D Barnes line. I was like,
right.
Dre let him put that in there.
He let him put that in there, and then he was like, "You little mother," you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah, per temper, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Which it was just crazy, but I thought it was fun, and I didn't run right to the store to get his album, but I was interested.
Yeah, man. I remember Infinite. I was like, I'm one of the ones that said, dude, that dude can rap. He kind of sounds like AZ on the title track, Infinite. He had a dope flow and all that. But then if you fast forward, I didn't hear about him again for years. I knew he was doing some underground battling, whatever the case may be. I didn't really pay no attention. So when I saw the How My Name Is video, I was like, okay, this is the MTV joint. They're gonna sell some records. But I didn't know what to expect from the album because I'm like, was the whole album gonna be like this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he gonna totally cross over and just get that MTV crowd? Dr. Dre really needed a hit because we know the aftermath that been there, done that didn't really pop off. You know what I'm saying? So this is like him throwing all the eggs in the basket, and this dude, this Slim Shady guy got a stick. You know what I'm saying? But when I heard some of the actual album cuts, then you go back and I was like, okay, he still is rapping. Like, he really, really can rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, make no mistake about that. He really can rap. And then, of course, that year, the Crown of 2001 come. It's like, then you hear that Still Dre, and you hear that piano. And I remember the first time I saw the video, I was like, oh, shit. You like, this Chronic One shit. Like you got Snoop in there with him, you got the DLC in the back seat. I was like, Dr. Dre back. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the best beats I heard. Of course, we found out. Well, I didn't know at the time. I found out years later. Jay-Z wrote this shit, and I'm like, that's even more amazing. But nevertheless, it's a classic track that him and his team put together. And then you get Chronic 2001, and what other singles, man? All the singles was big. You know what I'm saying? It was a monstrous album and probably one of the best engineered albums of that year.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I remember I was back in Baltimore. I was in Baltimore around that time, working at the radio station. I think I was hosting around that time, if I'm not mistaken, or getting ready to. Kill was still working there. He was the production director. And I remember when the album came in, like I had already heard the single and thought it was crazy. But man, when I heard Next Episode,
oh my goodness,
I was like you, like, oh, I need to go buy this like now. Like this isn't, a dude. He say it right. Nigga saying Dre fell off. How my last album was The Chronic, even though it really kind of wasn't. But
you know what? But in his mind, he like, look, that Aftermath joint was a compilation. That's what
right.
In his head, like that wasn't my last solo album.
Right.
But yeah, when I go back now and I listen to it, I mean, I love the way he put it together, man. I thought it was sequence great. And close to the end, man, he ended up with those really strong songs at the end. He had that song on there called Bang Bang. You know what I'm saying? Like, those drums, I mean, that album was really awesome, man. But what I wanted to bring up, the reason why I wanted to start with Eminem and Dr. Dre in 1999, even though they weren't the first two albums of the year. Actually, Dre album came out later in the year. Slim came out a little earlier in the year. But the reason why I wanted to bring them two up first, because if something crazy happened and Eminem and Dr. Dre don't pop off, let's say both of these albums really didn't shake the culture the way it did, we don't have 50 Cent.
No.
So this is a what if thing. If that happens, like what I just said, 50 Cent might have continued being an underground rapper in New York. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Still battling all the people battling, you know what I'm saying? And maybe, you know, the track masters, maybe that Power of Dollar does come out. But if you really being honest, Power of the Dollar was going to end up making him an underground star. It wasn't going to make him a hip hop star.
Nah, it wasn't. And you know what's even crazier when you say that? Because basically those two albums established Aftermath as a label.
Absolutely.
And for 50 to not have that, well, he's just blackballed, because at the time he was blackballed.
He absolutely was. So
it's like you not coming out like at all. You making mixtapes to whenever, you know. So
and that trajectory. And so now you look at G Unit stays underground because he's underground. Yep. There is no Get Rich or Die Trying. There is no In the Club. In the Club, one of the biggest songs in hip hop history. These things don't happen without Dr. Dre and Eminem. You know what I'm saying? So after that, we're not looking at Power Book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're not looking at that. There's a lot of actors who don't get this break through Power. You know what I'm saying? It's that tree and all of these different limbs and stuff like that. These things don't come into fruition because Eminem didn't pop off. So he probably doesn't even, he doesn't have the power to take it 50 Cent's mixtape and say, Dre, we got to get this dude over to California and see what's going on, see what's good. If they bombing, they like, we ain't got time to listen to nobody else. We got to go back in the studio and get your second album out, and I got to try to find a way to get Snoop back over here with me or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if they don't pop off, you don't have, so then you look at, there's no game. Where's the game? You know what I'm saying? So you talking about there's no documentary, there's no game, you know what I'm saying? And if that doesn't happen, Game is one of the first people that took Kendrick Lamar and J-Rock and all of them on tour. Yeah, he's one of the ones that took Nipsey Hussle CD. See, these things, this is the significance of 1999. Dre and Eminem helped shift the culture because they were successful in 1999 with the Slim Shady LP and with the Crown of 2001. They don't pop off, all these other things don't happen.
Yeah, and I think for anybody who wasn't there to witness or didn't really pay attention to this side of it, the impact of both of those albums, you know, even if you weren't playing it in the hood, it didn't matter. It was huge, right? This is the TRL and 106 in Park early years where these songs are getting played and spit. The videos are getting spins. Forgot About Dre is on the radio. Like, it's just crazy how it kind of took over popular.
Oh, culture. Man, Eminem went through the roof. And what's funny is he actually started slow. His first week, he sold 283,000 copies. And this still a day with time when we had to go to the store and get it. So don't get me wrong, that's still a success. But he sold 283,000 copies. And of course, after he really popped off, he sold millions. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre, Crown of 2001, over 500,000 copies the first week. Dr. Dre went gold in a week. People don't understand how large they were, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's another significant thing, man. But another thing about this year, man, you know what I'm saying, as far as success, DMX drops, and then there was X. DMX leased that year 698,000 copies in the first week. DMX. And I was trying to tell people the other day on Twitter, do y'all actually understand how large DMX was?
DMX was crazy. Look, Tone, this is what's so crazy about that. That's DMX's third album. Yeah, before he made his debut, his year was two albums basically, right? Yeah. Fresh My Flesh and It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Right.
You come back a third time the next year at a time where we know, except for maybe like Jay-Z at the time, nobody was dropping an album every year, let alone already having 3 albums in 2 years.
And very significant, Van, because again, this is his 3rd album, and he almost goes 700,000 the first week on album number 3. People, that's why I'm trying to tell people, do you understand? We was there, and I hate to say that all the time, but right. DMX was a monstrous rap star in the clubs, on the radio, in the streets. What you want, DMX had that. You know what I'm saying? So he was the biggest first week sales of 1999 over Dr. Dre, Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, everybody. We're gonna get into all of that.
Which is crazy.
As well. Yes.
And also, look, just real quick with that number, once you hit around 800, you're certified platinum.
Yeah, so that's probably week 2 for him. 3.
Right. So the next week he was platinum. Shit, that weekend he might have been platinum. So
that's just perspective on DMX and the success of that year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just amazing, man. But I want to go now to, I know some rapid rap guys think 1999 didn't have, you know what I'm saying, some of the thirst, quench their thirst, but it did. So I'm gonna start with, man, Most Def, Black on Both Sides drops in 1999, and I posted probably about a year ago that I felt like what Most Def's performance on Black on Both Sides to me is comparable to any of the most amazing single performances from an MC on an album in rap history. I'm talking about Most Def on Black on Both Sides was just as good as Nas on Illmatic, what he displayed. He was just as good as Biggie on Ready to Die, just as smooth as Snoop on Damn Doggy Style, or any album that you felt like, yo, that MC really was stellar all the way through. Ghostface on Supreme Clientele, whatever. Most Def is one of the most gifted, and we just talking about the gift. He's one of the gifted MCs to me ever to pick the mic up. So those verses that he laid on the year before that on the Black Star album, Twice in a Lifetime, and all this stuff, he did that again and then some on Black on Both Sides. And he said on the title track before on the intro before hip hop came on, people ask me all the time what's going on with hip hop. He said, what's going on with us? You know what I'm saying? And he also had the line I love to say, hip hop went from selling crack to smoking it. You know what I'm saying? But Miss Fat Booty was the lead single, but then of course, just the amazing sequence of the songs, everything about the album was stellar, man. What was your thoughts on Black on Both Sides, man?
Man, to me, even though we kind of knew this, because we knew something was special about Most, just hearing him with the Bush Babies, right? Just little things like that, being on the hook. And then obviously in Black Star. But when I heard that joint, I love Miss Fat Booty because it didn't compromise the integrity of the type of music he would make. Like that was a club song without having to adapt the formula.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For radio, it was the type of club song Most would make, the type of situation with a chick Most would talk about.
Right.
Oh man, when I heard Mathematics.
God.
And we had a radio show. You want to talk about playing songs to death? That album just established to me that he was all right as a soloist, right? You know, sometimes you're in a group, you kind of like the group, you don't really want to see him solo.
Yeah. But
he established really quick, like I'm a bona fide soloist also.
You got a favorite album? So real quick, as far as that album, do you have, outside of Mathematics, there's another song or two that resonate with you?
Umi Says. Yeah. I remember looking at the back of the album, and I didn't know what that meant or anything about it. And what I like about it is it's not one of those, it's so different from everything else, where he got the bars, he got the song for the ladies. And then he has Umi Says, and all of it is so uniquely Most Def.
Yeah.
And I remember when I heard that, I was like, damn, I think I could listen to an album with him just doing this also. Like,
and he ended up kind of doing it on True Magic, but in a way.
Right. He did. But yeah, man. That album was crazy.
Man, I've been listening to the song Got a whole lot lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, the joint got him there because I mean, he talking about getting robbed. You know what I'm saying? And man, that's just a great song, man. Umi, of course, man. I like God Almighty, Hip Hop, the first track on there, man.
Right.
I mean, New World joint. You know what I'm saying? It's very hot, man. And yeah, man, he just did something special, man. Another guy from a group that dropped his a solo debut that ended up being something special was when Pharoah Monch dropped Internal Affairs, man. And you know, I heard Simon Says, and I was always a fan of Pharoah because I love Organized Confusion. I'm one of the people that listen to Stress and all that stuff. And you know, when the Equinox came out in '97, 2 years before that, I played Sound Man and Somehow, Some Way and Numbers and all this. I played that stuff all the time. So I'm a real big fan of Equinox. I like Prince Poe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love Organized Confusion, man. So when I heard Simon Says, I get it. You know what I'm saying? That's joint bangs in the club. It bangs on the radio, man. But when I heard the album and he had that joint No Mercy with MOP, you know what I'm saying? He had the joint Hell or something with Cannabis. And that was still during the time a lot of people didn't really want to rhyme with Cannabis, and Pharoah right there with him.
Right.
Comfortable, man. And just the whole album was beautiful, man. What did you think about Internal Affairs, man?
Man, I loved it, man. When I heard Simon Says, I was like, damn, this beat is crazy. He killed it. Talk about the clubs, because I was in the club heavy.
Me too.
In '99. You want to talk about a song that everybody's rocking to? That was it. But there was another one too, because again, I'm in B-more. I'm still in school, by the way. '99, I'm still in school. I graduate the next year.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard the joint right here,
woo,
especially when I heard it in the club,
right?
Yeah, and special disclaimer for y'all. Y'all hear the way he say Brooklyn in there, right? He from Queens, but it's a certain way you got to acknowledge Brooklyn when you say it. And that's the way he did that shit used to have me hype in the club, because it used to be like, this fucking song is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it was dope. You know, where the fuck is Queens? Where the shit was dope, man.
It was dope.
It was just pure hip hop and raucous, you know. Like you said earlier, for the cats who, you know, rappity rap and want the underground and all of that, raucous was shoulder to shoulder with a lot of these hits. Because Simon Says was getting some spins.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say Most and Pharoah both went gold on their albums, if I'm not mistaken. I think Simon Says was a gold single too. But you know what's funny is, since we're talking about raucous, that's this same year you got Sound Bombing too. So when Sound Bombing 2 come out, and this brings things full circle, because we talk about Eminem. Eminem is on Sound Bombing 2 with Any Man. You know what I'm saying? So Eminem is on there representing. He said really rhyming his ass off. Pharoah has a song on there, I think, called A Mayor. You know what I'm saying? And then Most is on there. He has a track close to the end of the album, but he also is on the song with Medina Green of Crosstown Beef. You know what I'm saying?
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Crosstown Beef. Yeah. So that's Jordan's on there too. And then you got Total Chaos with Bahama-D and Talib Kweli. You know what I'm saying? And then Kweli got a song close to the end of the album as well. Man, you got R.A. the Rugged, man. You got oh my God. So you got 1999, the 1999 with Sadat X and Common. Man, you got Diamond D on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sound Bombing 2, man, is one of my favorite hip hop compilations, man. And like I said, we just talked about Eminem already. Pharoah and Most, they are represented on Sound Bombing 2 in 1999.
In 1999. It's so crazy too, because, and y'all watching, you'll see as we go through other albums, it was such a mixture where you felt like everything was dope, and it was everything for everybody. So it wasn't just, you know, that Bad Boy was still around, or you had to be with Rough Riders or Aftermath. Like, look what Raucous was doing. And then, like you said, Eminem, who's blowing up, is on this joint.
It's on it.
Which is crazy.
So real quick, for the listeners, I had an episode recently with my man Kill, shout out to Kill, about 1997, and I like to always try to debunk the shiny suit theory. or Shining Suit era and all this stuff like that. Because again, real quick, you hear all these dope albums we talking about in 1999. Well, there was the same amount of dopeness in 1998, but Biggie Smalls died in 1997 in the spring. DMX emerged in the spring of 1998. Okay, go back, check the episode out. Go back, do the knowledge on Google, YouTube, wherever you need to go to look at the albums that dropped in 1997, 1998, leading up to 1999, what we're talking about today. Now, also in 1999, a big year for my favorite MC. If you know Tony Haynes, you know that the Golden Child, that would be Nasir Jones, is my favorite MC. He's been my favorite MC since I heard It Ain't Hard to Tell. You know what I'm saying? I was in college when Illmatic came out. And immediately I was like, that's the kid from Zebrahead soundtrack. That's the kid from Back to the Grill Again, and that's the dude Main Source. He was on that barbecue joint. So I knew who Nas was. I'm in North Carolina, but you know what I'm saying, I got a bootleg from this girl from New York and had Nas joints on it. That's just to give you a little history. But anyway, Illmatic comes out. It Was Written comes out. I've already talked about It Was Written before. Today I reposted an article I wrote several years ago about the disrespect of It Was Written. You know what I'm saying? If you guys know me, you know I've already debunked y'all hating on Trackmaster when we already know what's what It Was Written. But anyway, now it's time for Nas to come out again. The rumor was Nas has a double album coming out. Obviously, when Biggie and Pac have double albums, those are his peers. I think that was only right for him to say, let me carry that torch. These brothers are gone. You know what I'm saying? That's why he did We Will Survive on I Am, which is, to me, the greatest dedication song for Biggie and Pac together. You know what I'm saying? So there's a double CD supposed to come out. You know what I'm saying? But there's also a streaming joint a pirate joint called Napster that leaks real quick. I go to the store to get a 40-ounce vague. This dude walk up to me outside the store like, I got that new Nas. I'm like, Nas album ain't coming out yet. He's like, I got Nas album. I'm like, Nas don't have an album out yet, man. He was like, take this out, give me $5 and buy this from me. Trust me, you'll thank me. I was like, all right, man, here go $5, dog. What up? I got a headset. I put the shit in, and some shit called Fetus come on. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? You know what I'm saying? I go to the next joint. Small World, Project Window, Drunk by Myself. You want to play rough? I'm like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this Nas new joint. But it was a leak of songs that's supposed to have been added to this double CD Nas supposed to have, man. So that's another whole episode within itself, man. But nevertheless, Nas drops I Am. Nas is like, I see the video for Nas is like Vague, and he in there with Primo, and he got the green joint on. I'm like, Nas is back. Then I got the bootleg already, and I'm like, hey, what's really going on? How many songs gonna be? Because my bootleg had like 17 songs on it, some shit. You know what I'm saying? So I know some people said they had one with 13 songs on it, Vague. Mine, I still got it downstairs or somewhere. It had like 17 songs on it.
Yeah, mine's is back here. Here you go, right here. Just grab it real quick. Bought it off the streets downtown Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I Am joint. Had that joint, and the track list was right on the back. The tape ain't in there; it's in the box and shit. But
I had that version too. But I had also.
And you, this is how crafty, because I did an episode. Well, we did a whole episode on the album that time in hip hop.
Yeah, that time in hip hop.
But recently, I did another follow up because they were releasing it on vinyl.
Yep.
And I forgot to say, like, these cats were so crafty. They even had the Columbia information down here now. I don't know if this album was ready and that's where they got it from, or somebody was just
I don't know what happened, bro.
With it.
It's the craziest thing, man. But you know, nevertheless, when I got I Am, you know, of course, that's during the time I was still getting the Source magazine. And I go back there to the record reviews or whatever. I Am got 4.5 mics.
4.5. Wow, I forgot about that.
And people forget this, like, you know, you can say, hey, I didn't like Big Things or the 2-3 songs on there, but at the same time, man, I Am had New York State of Mind 2. It had Hate Me Now. It had Undying Love. Is one of the greatest rap songs
Oh, man.
ever. And again, it's the Queen's connection with Pharoah Monch on his album years later called Desire. He had a song called Trilogy, and it was just like Undying Love. But anyway, he had Favor for a Favor with Scarface. He had Language What You're Making with DMX. I mean, You Won't See Me Tonight with Aaliyah. I thought it was a dope song for what it was worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it was. He had some joints on there, man. We Will Survive, the dedication, like I said a few minutes ago, for Big and Pac. And man, I mean, he delivered, man. Like, what was your first thoughts on I Am when you heard it?
Honestly, I was a little conflicted because I had never experienced a situation where an album like that leaks and we got it, and the studio just shuffles the deck, because I had been listening to that joint, the bootleg, like every day.
Yeah.
So I'm not hearing Fetus, and Blazer 50. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? But I Am, it should get more credit than it does, because like you said, people tend to remember the songs they don't like and say that's their album. But you just named a couple of joints that were dope. Like, I don't know why there ain't enough talk about New York State of Mind too. Primo killed that fucking beat. Nas killed the rhyme. Basically told you how his crew from when Illmatic came down, how they broke down to who was left in the crew. Shit like that is just crazy. So I liked it, but there was a part of me that was kind of like, well, I wonder what they're gonna do with the follow-up.
Well, it was a gift from the curse, cause unfortunately we heard that bootleg first. You know what I'm saying? So if you hear that bootleg first, and then you hear something like, you know what I'm saying, I didn't really love Money's My Bitch, but let's just say you heard that joint and you heard maybe another song or two that you didn't like. You like, shit, you could have put You Want to Play Rough on there or something like that on there. So it was just a hard feat when you leak, but then you drop Nostradamus, and when we heard Nostradamus, it was like, damn, man, I really wish you just y'all would have went on Columbia and just did the whole double CD together originally, and just make it the I Am double CD. You don't even have a Nostradamus, you know what I'm saying? Because I was irritated with Nostradamus because first of all, there was a couple of joints on there I did like. I like the joint with Nate Sean on there. I like Family with Mobb Deep. I even like the Nostradamus title track. You want to ball till you fall? I can help you with that. You want beef? I can let slug melt through your hat. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, y'all was still spitting that shit on there. You know what I'm saying? It was some drops on there that I really like, man. But when you think about the songs that we could have got, I really wish Columbia and his team would have said, you know what? I know it leaked. You know what I'm saying? Let's just go ahead and drop the whole thing, man. But nevertheless, you got Nas did what X did the year before that. He dropped 2 platinum albums in 1 year. For what it's worth, y'all can say what y'all want to. Nas dropped 2 platinum albums in 1999.
Right. It's like as much.
It didn't fall off.
Right. As much flack as those 2 albums get, especially Nostradamus, because I didn't like it at all. I thought he could still rhyme. I felt like you. Like, I think back then, the game plan when something leaked was always to retool it. But I think if they had the knowledge of situations like today, most people wouldn't have had that bootleg anyway. It was just people like you said, you coming out the store, you got it. I'm just always searching for music, so I stumbled across it. But there were so many people who didn't have it back then, who didn't hear it, who wouldn't have heard none of those songs leading up to it. And with Nostradamus, I was still in the club, y'all. You Owe Me was shit.
Banging in the club, and Genuine was still hot.
Genuine was hot. People love, man. I ain't gonna front. Shout out to
ladies love that song.
Yeah, I remember one time we went down to DC, and from B-More, and that's about like 45 minutes, maybe an hour if it's a lot of traffic. That's the only song we played. It was like a primer for the club because it was just that dope. It was perfect for the dancing, for the lyrics. I didn't feel like he did anything corny with it. It's just that, like you said, the album went platinum.
But see, and you know what, babe? So I saw a clip of Nas performing about 6 months ago, and he was performing You Owe Me, and the ladies in the crowd was going crazy. And this is what I try to tell people: when you're a full artist, you can't just stay in one pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like Nas, you can say you don't like Nostradamus. That's fine. You can say you don't like You Owe Me. Maybe you don't like those type of songs. But I threw parties in college. I'm in a fraternity, and my crew was known to throw the biggest parties in Greensboro, doing A&T homecoming, doing our festivities. Whenever big time concerts came to Greensboro, we threw the after parties. I was in the streets, in the clubs. You know what I'm saying? We had to have songs like You Owe Me. We had to have songs like LL, Heavy D, and all of the commercial tracks, Mace, Puff. There's a place for that. You get in your car, you can listen to your boom bap. That's cool. I love it too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what Nas did was make a song that he still used on tours 20-some years later. People, you got to get out the little box y'all in sometime, man. Right. But nevertheless, the reason why I brought some of this up also is because 1999 also started the myth of Nas falling off. No, you can say an artist dropped the album you don't like. Falling off means you fucking bombed. Nas dropped 2 platinum albums in 1999. He didn't bomb. You can just say, hey, he got bootlegged out of almost 20 damn songs, and the record company decided to break everything up and drop 2 albums, and both of them were #1 albums, and both of them went platinum. One of them went, I Am almost went triple platinum. It was double platinum, and Nostradamus was over 1 million copies. He didn't fall off. You can just say you don't like it. His next album after Nostradamus was what? Was Stillmatic.
Stillmatic, right.
So he didn't fall off. You know what I'm saying? You just didn't like Nostradamus. You know what's crazy too? Like, it's a perception thing. Because I remember, like when I'm a big fan of an artist and they put out an album that's perceived to be whack or I don't like, I will still listen to it. Because I'm trying to understand, okay, this isn't like what came out previously. What maybe I need to take this for what it is. And what I realized listening to it back then and even now, lyrically, he was still Nas. He was still Nas.
It was just that there were some hooks that, just didn't sound that good. And there was a couple of beats that weren't that good. But when I listened to what he was saying lyrically on all the records, I was like, well, shit. He's still there,
Nas's 1999 era. So if you're saying, to your point, certain songs on Nostradamus and even 2 or 3 songs on I Am didn't love, but it's also the same Nas who had Drunk by Myself, Fetus, Wanna Play Rough, all of these songs. All of this stuff was recorded around the same time. It was supposed to be a double album. They rushed this Nostradamus thing. So, but moving forward, because few things happen with Nostradamus. You got Come Get Me, with still some subliminals to Sean Carter. You know what I'm saying? You had the Nostradamus title track, which was still kind of coming at Memphis Bleak and all of them. So this leads me into also in 1999, Jay-Z drops Volume 3, Lights of Time of Sean Carter, and he has a song on there, Come and Get Me.
Come and Get Me. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So people understand this. So in 1999, Nas says, Come Get Me. Jay says, Come and Get Me.
Yeah.
People don't put that, and then listen to what Jay is spitting that shit on Come and Get Me. Come and get me. Like, well, I'm here. Then the other version is that your chick. The beef is starting now.
Yep.
Is that your chick? It's about Nas. That the remix verse.
Right.
He's talking about Nas. You know what I'm saying? And Volume 3, if you look past that section in Volume 3 with like 3 songs that people really don't like, you know what I'm saying? The Mariah Carey joint and that Pop for Rock, I think it's something like that. Look past that and look at what Jay-Z did on Volume 3, people. And I did a post about this on Twitter about a month ago. You got the Hova intro. You got Do It Again, right? I mean, is Do It Again?
Do It Again.
You got Dope Man. You got New York Marcy Projects, one of my favorite Jay-Z songs. You got Come and Get Me. You got There's Been a Murder. You got The Watcher. You got Big Pimpin', which is legendary in the club. Big Pimpin' still legendary now. UGK, it bridged New York and the South again. Jay-Z did that again. Before that, he did it with Han remix with Juvie. You know what I'm saying? So you got all these dope songs on Volume 3. He was a monster lyrically on Volume 3, man. What was your thing on Volume 3?
Man, when I heard it's I think this is probably, this is lyrically one of Jay-Z's best albums. Like, he was in the pocket, crazy. He was competitive. He was confident. He was successful. So ghetto.
Shoo.
I quote shit from there just to make that point of how lyrical he was. Like
Super
when
lyrical.
he said we sprayed corners, stand there like you got a cape on you. Fine, you be wearing a black suit a long
Long
time.
time.
I put your crew in hard bottoms. The
The
priest
priest
is
is
like,
like, God got him.
come on, man.
He
Like,
never did nothing nobody, but
but
that
the
man
boy
shot
shot him.
him. Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like,
And then
this
he
dude
was
was incredible.
And then on that Watcher, he was spitting. He had a verse. He was spitting that like that Cashmere Thoughts. See, Jigga giving you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he was
And
that
Dre
shit.
did that beat, right? The Watcher.
Dre did his Watcher.
That's a Dre beat.
Because when they did the Watcher 2 on Blueprint 2, Rakim was on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's another thing. People, as you see, we talking about some joints in 1999, and man, we ain't even got to some other joints. Look, the Roots Things Fall Apart comes out in 1999, and they win that Grammy for You Got Me with Erykah Badu. I think the original version there was some things with Jill Scott or whatever, but Things Fall Apart, man. When I saw You Got Me the video, but I go to the record store to get the album, and like a few nerds like such as ourselves, I get to the record store and I pick the CD up, and what captivates me first is the album cover. You know what I'm saying? When it showed the black woman running and the police and all that, and I'm a history nerd, it takes me back to, you know what I'm saying, the civil rights and all that. Then you see that there's like 4 different versions of the album cover, and I'm like, damn, this some shit right here. So then I put it on, man, and once again, and yo, it's just the joint with Common and yo, man, Things Fall Apart is an amazing rap album, man. You know, it lost to Slim Shady LP, I believe, for the Grammy. Now, you know, obviously, I felt like Things Fall Apart was better. That's another whole discussion for another day. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, you based on population alone, you're just not going to beat Eminem in certain of those categories because the suburban kids, MTV, whatever. But Things Fall Apart is a brilliant album. Like De La Soul is Dead, Balloon Mind Stay, you know, Black on Both Sides. It's just brilliant albums, you know what I'm saying? Lyrically superior, you know what I'm saying? Black Thought and them just, you know what I'm saying, really bringing it home. Man, what was your thoughts on Things Fall Apart?
Man, it was almost like this was a different group from Illadelph Half-Life, right? It was they matured. They did on such a level that it's a masterpiece to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's cultural. It's, you know, it's for the times, for the past. It's well produced. You know, there's bars if you want them. Beanie Siegel has a standout feature on that joint.
Yeah.
Man, like I remember that record. Everybody was dope on it. Dice Roll, everybody was dope. Yeah. But I used to fast forward just so I could hear Beanie's verse because his verse was so crisp. You know, I had heard him before, but I hadn't heard him like this on a track with you know, the RPMs was like, you know, whatever that was, close to 100 or whatever it was.
Yeah, he was murdering on that joint, man. Like, you know, I mean, I knew who he was, but I was still getting acclimated with him. I was like, dude, really nice. You know what I'm saying? Like he really, you know, and we was lucky, you know, the next year, of course, I think 2000, he dropped The Truth, and it was like, okay, he's here. I heard What Your Life Like, and Die and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, he's one of them.
Right.
He's definitely one of them. But look, man, also, and man, that Things Fall Apart is a great album. So back to like the radio real quick, man. My favorite rap group, people that know me know, is Tribe Called Quest. My favorite rap group, Q-Tip drops Amplified, you know what I'm saying? And Vibrant thing come out. I didn't know what to think at first until I saw the video. And I said, you know what? Let me let Q-Tip do his thing because he gave me Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders and Beach Rhymes and Life and People Instinctive Travels and all this stuff. Let him get off. You know what I'm saying? Right. Breathe and Stop and Vibrant thing. Let him do his thing, man. So I wasn't even mad at Amplified, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he's an artist. And I think he's finally able to be free away from Tribe and do his thing, man. So I wasn't mad, man. Amplified was a gold or platinum album, man, and Q-Tip was doing it big, man. What was your thoughts on Amplified, man? I know you like Tribe.
Yeah, them first 2 singles, man, like Breathe and Stop and Vibrant Thing, especially Vibrant Thing. Again, I'm in the club heavy.
Yeah, no question.
That song, in rotate, and this is Q-Tip. Now, granted, yeah, you go back a couple years, Tribe was in the club also, because the barrier for club music wasn't you had to make this back when they were out originally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was, but just to have a Q-Tip solo was dope. I wasn't the biggest fan of the album when I heard it,
Right.
but I understand like when a dude is in a group and you have an opportunity to probably do all the ideas you wouldn't do with the group, sometimes you're just going to get different stuff. It's kind of like the Lox. Some of the music that they make reminds you of the Lox, but somebody like Styles P is a little bit more conscious, and you get to hear more of his conscious side on his solo work. So I kind of felt that way with Q-Tip. I'm like, well, this makes sense for Q-Tip, and I didn't even know that Dilla did the beat until later, where I was like, wow. I wouldn't even peg that as a Dilla beat. So,
hey, look, let's go back to you in New York, bro. Let's go back to New York again, to the grimy. Mobb Deep drops murder music, man. What are we talking about here? We talking about Infamous to Hell on Earth to murder music. And I ain't trying to dispel Juvenile Hell. I'm just saying the 3-album run of Infamous, Hell on Earth, and murder music. I'm like, and then I heard the Quiet Storm.
The solo
joint first, and I saw the video, and I was like, "Damn, Prodigy killing," you know what I'm saying? So it's like, then In Too Deep the movie, you know. So you got where your heart at, you know what I'm saying? Right. And yo, man, murder music, man, was just it's mine with Nas, man, with that Scarface joint, man, and murder. Because I know murder music. I think it leaked at one point, right? Didn't some of the joints leak on murder music?
Yeah, like the damn near the whole album, but some of the samples were different.
Yeah,
some of the records. So the one that came out is definitely different from the bootleg.
Yeah, man. So that was just murder music is a great album, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
it is. I wish it would get more attention now, because I feel like, Infamous goes without saying. Everybody love it. But I feel like the second album gets more love than Murder Music. And I thought Murder Music was incredible, man. Like, like it's the album that made me like Cormega. Pick Your Poison. That's the best verse. It's the best I ever heard Cormega song. It was crazy on there.
That's the one he said, "My pen is sick like a heroin addict." Whenever Mega spit,
right?
Precisely, drug dealing ghetto shit. Yeah. That's the one.
He was killing that joint.
That was the smoothest to me I ever heard him on In Pocket.
He was In Pocket for sure.
That was the smoothest I heard with that. But yeah, Murder Music was a fantastic album. Prodigy was still on one. Havoc always been underrated. You know what I'm saying? I think that's also the album with the realest on them. With Cool G Rap spit that verse. You know what I'm saying?
Illustrious, is that on there?
Illustrious on there too, man. But the realest is what did G Rap say, man? Bullets ain't racial, kid. They only hate you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man.
Like tear up your facial. Something he went in.
You know, you got this joint with 8 Ball on there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On there, whatever. Speaking of them, they had an album that in 1999 too, In Our Lifetime. You know what I'm saying? 8 Ball MJG had a joint In Our Lifetime. There was a dope album they dropped in 1999. Just segueing into that. Just think about them being on the Murder Music. They did their own thing, and I'm gonna tell you, I did a flowers post for them, about a year or so ago, man. Because I'm gonna tell you something. 8 Ball MJG ain't no joke, man.
Yeah, I was late to the party with them.
Them cats got dope albums, and them cats can rap.
They can rap. They vicious rappers. Like for those people who like, oh yeah, I kind of like Killer Mike. You would never, if you ain't never heard them, you would never think they on the level of rapping that Killer Mike is.
Yeah, they can rap.
They can rap. And then later they was on Bad Boy, right?
Yeah, I know that's crazy, ain't it? I'm gonna tell you something. We're gonna stay up around your way, man. And look, man, and I get a lot of flack for this cat right here, but this is my cat right here. Ja Rule drops Veni Veni Vici, dog. And I love that album. You know what I'm saying? The joint with Eric Sermon, not just Holla Holla. Man, that joint my favorite about his kid. The joint with the freestyle on the album. The joint with Murder Inc. Man, the joint with Eric Sermon. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, Ja Rule could put some records together, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, unnecessary hate in my opinion, dog. But that debut album was hard to me.
I think he was slept on in the beginning, and then people started to wise up. But he started to do a little bit more for the radio, and everybody loved it. Don't let nobody fool you. They were loving it. But I know in the beginning, I remembered him from Cash Money Click.
Yeah.
I liked him then, and I liked him on like Streets is Watching soundtrack and all of that. But I remember when I first saw the video, I think for Holla, and it was kind of turning me off a little bit because we just had DMX, who kind of had a Tupac kind of look, the bald head, no shirt on, and for those who don't know, even 2-3 years later, Tupac and Biggie's death was still fresh for a lot of us.
It was fresh, man. Yeah.
We were on alert.
1999, they had just died 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, we were on alert for anything that even resembled something they did.
That's true.
But later on, when I started to hear a couple of records, I was like, oh, this joint is all right. Because I always thought he could rap. And he had a dope voice.
Yeah. When I talk about Ja Rule, a lot of people, they start talking about the joints with Ashanti, the joints with Lil Mo, the joints with Jennifer Lopez. What I try to explain to people is this. Ja Rule's significance is he carried a record label. You understand what I'm saying? There's only a few guys in the history of the culture who had to put a record label on his back. Irv Gotti put everything in the Ja Rule. Murder Inc. is Ja Rule. Ashanti and all them don't get a chance to pop off. Ja Rule flops. They don't have any money to work with. You know what I'm saying? So Ja Rule was a writer. He wrote for R&B people. He knew how to craft songs. He knew how to craft hooks. He knew how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So his significance is by his second album, he was totally taking care of a record label. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, this is also the same guy who was on 3 different songs with Jay-Z and DMX and held his own.
Yep.
I mean, why you bullshitting? He on 3 tracks to the point where at one point they're on the front of a magazine together like they're gonna be a group.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Ja Rule did his thing with that album, man. And speaking, of the freshness of Big and Pac, man, another somber moment was Born Again dropped that year with Biggie, man. And, it was bittersweet because it was cool to hear some of the lyrics. I think Biggie probably wouldn't have picked some of the beats, or work with some of those artists. But, man, that song, If I Should Die, with Ice Cube and Benny Siegel and them, man, and I think in Black Rob, dude, that sounded like something from Ready to Die, Life After Death. Right. Fit the same mode, the lyrics to that song, and I think all the guys came through for Puff and Big with their verses, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Born Again did have, of course, it had Dead Wrong on there, and it showed Eminem again acting a damn fool lyrically. As you see, guys, 1999, Eminem was on one, from the Slim Shady LP to the raucous sound bombing to this verse on Dead Wrong that made even skeptics be like, okay, so this white boy is real.
Yo, he was bad. He blacked out.
He blacked out.
He blacked out. Now, Biggie is my favorite rapper.
I know.
And when Born Again came out, I was like praying there was a verses that I hadn't heard before. But because he was my favorite rapper, I had everything.
Yeah.
Like mixtapes.
And you from Brooklyn.
Right. Because before Ready to Die dropped, the whole BK&Y were playing Best of Biggie by Mr. C.
Yeah.
And some of those
we got that late.
Yeah, and a lot of the verses on there came from the mixtape side and a little bit from here and there, but or like the Put Your Hands High on Tracy Lee album, they took that and put Redman and Method Man with Big. Method Man verse on there though.
Yeah.
Verse on that joint was crazy. But yeah, it was, I have it. I bought it because I think it's definitely the best post Biggie's Death albums, out. It's hands down the best one.
Yeah, it is.
But it was
Did he have that joint on there? Come on, mother with Sadat X?
Nah. What?
Man,
I don't
you know that
remember.
song? Do you remember that song?
Yeah, with the Dot X. I don't know if that was on there.
Okay,
maybe.
I'm not sure, but it was a couple of joints on there. I really like, man, let me tell you though, another joint that I still play to this day, man. Funk Flex, the Tonal came out in 1999.
Yeah.
That shit is incredible, bro.
Now, is that the one? That's not the one with. That's the one with Sadat X freestyle that everybody like, right?
No, I think that was before that one. This the one with Big Cap. This is Funk Flex.
Oh, the Tunnel.
The Tonal.
Right. That had
it had the joint with G Rap and Prodigy on there. Man, they had a whole bunch of joints on there, man.
LL had a joint on there, right?
I think L is on the Tunnel. Also, this is the one again, Slim Shady. The him and Dr. Dre song is on there. God, it was killing 1999. I gotta give him credit. So Dre, if I get locked up tonight, then I'm gonna get the
right.
That joint. Right. Yeah. So and then the Hot Boys had that song on there. Even if I don't get no taller, I'm always be a CMB baller. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Wayne and what's your boy name just got out of jail?
BG.
Wayne and BG murdered that song.
Mm-hmm.
BG killed that song, man. But yeah, the Tunnel, man, was just, and Funk Flex was 3 for 3, man. G. You had the first Funk Flex Volume 1, Volume 2, and then he was 3 for 3.
Yeah, that joint with Big Cat was like, I was surprised that, because I'm like, oh, you're going,
it was 3 for 3.
You got some money. The other ones were more like mixtapes.
Yeah,
this is more like an album, like a compilation album.
Yeah, and man.
It's the LL joint that was on there. It's the same
is
song.
It Il-Bomb? No, what's Il-Bomb? Is it Il-Bomb?
Yeah.
Because Il-Bomb ended up being on the GOAT album.
Yeah.
Il-Bomb ended up being on the GOAT album, man. What about a few other joints I like, man? All the storytelling by Slick Rick, man. We was also happy for Slick Rick comeback, man, because he had the joint with me and Nas on there. He had the joint with Outkast. Slick Rick pen was still strong. I thought the production was dope. I want to say he went gold with that album, man. So that was a big comeback album for Slick Rick, man.
Yeah, you know what? Like at the time, I didn't even have that album, and there probably was a couple years before that I would have ran to the store like new Slick Rick. Slick Rick was like a favorite for me early on.
He represented on this one.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I eventually got it and listened to it, and I didn't hear it at the time it dropped, so I kind of missed that. But I mean, y'all could listen to all these albums being named, like it's crazy.
You know what the dope thing about the Slick Rick Art of Storytelling album is, because he is finally able to concentrate and really put it together, as opposed to before he got locked up and right after he got locked up, Behind Bars and all this stuff like that. So even though it had a couple of songs that I like, I think this was Slick Rick back comfortable again in his writing mode. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very good album. And speaking of old school too, 2 years before this, Rakim had dropped 18th Letter, which damn near classic to me. He dropped The Master in 1999. Though there are some songs on that I don't love, it was good to hear Rakim again dropping another album. One of my favorite Rakim songs of all time is on The Master. It's called Wait for the World to End, produced by DJ Premier. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one he say, through my travels, I try to take righteous steps, because right or left could mean life or death. I mean, man, just he has the verses on Waiting for the World to End, man, is the reason why it took 30 years for me to put Nas over Rakim. I mean, Rakim has been my GOAT since forever, until like a couple of months ago, really. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Rakim and Nas always been kind of neck and neck with me, you know what I'm saying? But he had some really good songs on The Master. Probably could have been a little better, maybe, but I wasn't mad, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's still putting out quality work. You know what I'm saying? And there
Right.
still was a couple of songs on there. I think not been a long time. What's the other song on there? Flow Forever. The first track on that Flow Forever was very hard. And he got this song on there called I'll Be, with a female singing the hook. It's a love joint. And real quick, Rakim always underrated with the love joints. There was gangster love joints that he always did, from Mahogany to Stay a While on 18th Letter to What's on Your Mind on Don't Sweat It. You know what I'm saying? So he did it again on the Master, man. Do you remember the Master album?
Yeah, that's another one of those albums that I would have jumped at had it not been for all the stuff that was being released. But I will say this: I remember you one time talking about that on That Time in Hip Hop. That got me intrigued. And then when I bought his book, when I read his book, the book is dope because you're reading the book, but within this book are verses from numerous albums, including the Master and joints I hadn't heard. So he's explaining how he's breaking down what he was thinking about making it. And then you read the verse, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go listen to this joint, because he did mention what is it, Waiting for the World to End. And reading those lyrics,
man,
made me go listen to it, because I was like, yo, this is like master work right here with the bars. Like, but yeah,
man. I mean, that just goes to show. Now, I would be remiss. Now, look, people, y'all know I always represent the South too. I'm in North Carolina. I got to represent the South. 1989, man. Hot Boys was on fire. Guerrilla Warfare from the Hot Boys. And then Juvenile dropped his second album, G Code. And look, G Code sold almost 250,000 copies the first week. People got to understand, Juvenile was a star at this time. You know what I'm saying? You already had 400 Degrees a year before that. That was a big time album for the South. It's a landmark album, late 90s for the South. The 400 Degrees with Juvenile. So now you got the G Code with Juvenile and Guerrilla Warfare with the Hot Boys. Listen, man, these dudes was on fire, babe.
They were kind of like Eminem, right? The minute they hit,
it was everywhere on the Funk Flex joint.
Right. I was in and not too long after that, if not maybe the end of that year, didn't they do the tour with Rough Riders?
Yeah.
Cash Money and Rough Riders?
That was the one, I believe.
Yeah, like y'all don't understand. I was in B-More, I was still in school, and as soon as me and my friends heard this joint, first when we heard High, when we heard Bling Bling, all of that shit, it was crazy. In the clubs, oh my god, like
they had the clubs on Smash.
They had, man, DJs had a set that quick for a new emerging hip hop label and group and soloists, and they already had a set because they already had a couple of hits, and it was just crazy. It was kind of refreshing, you know what I mean? Because sure, the South has been in hip hop, but not in this way,
not like that. You know what I'm saying? And they was carrying a torch from what Outkast and Master P and all them had done a couple years before that. And look too. Speaking of that, funny enough, Silk the Shocker drops Made Man or whatever in 1999 and sells over 200,000 copies the first week. We talking about Silk the Shocker, 200,000 for Made Man.
You know what's so crazy? No, I'm not gonna pretend like, because I don't own any.
I wasn't a fan, but I'm just giving.
Like we weren't fans like that, but people gotta
acknowledge. You gotta acknowledge it.
You gotta acknowledge the brother was successful.
Absolutely. Had big singles with Maya and everybody. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So let's go out west real quick. I'll be brief and just say, because it's a few people, but MC8 has Section 8. You know what I'm saying? Corrupt had Streets as a Mother, and Too Short had Can't Stay Away. You know what I'm saying? So you had some OGs on the West Coast still putting out some quality work in 1999. I just want to make sure I acknowledge that, because I'm a real big MC8 fan. You know what I'm saying? Always we come strapped, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I'm, and Straight Up Menace, just real quick, is one of my top 10 favorite rap songs. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the best rap songs. And I recently said on Twitter that MC8 is one of the most underrated storytellers in hip hop to me. You know what I'm saying? He's had vivid Compton stories. You know what I'm saying? And it's not appreciated to me outside of California the way it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But MC8 also, just on a side note, I'm going off track real quick. When Rhyme and Reason came out in 1997, the documentary and the soundtrack, he had a song in there called Represent. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of my favorite West Coast songs too, man. Of course, Too Short had Can't Stay Away. He couldn't stay away because he retired every year. Seemed like it came right back. So Short Dog couldn't stay away. You know what I'm saying? He dropped Quality again too. So there were just some joints from the West Coast, man. Jizza dropped Beneath the Damn Surface. You know what I'm saying? And Raekwon dropped Mobilarity. And let's talk about that real quick, because for people who don't know, me and Vay had that time in hip hop. We're still gonna do some more recordings. And our first episode was about Only Built for Cuban Links. And if you see on my Twitter profile page, I have the shirt on for Cuban Links. Right. That's simply one of the top 5 greatest rap albums of all time to me. You know what I'm saying? So when you have that kind of pressure that Ray had coming after that with Mobilarity, Vay, it was almost impossible to follow up Cuban Links. And of course, it left something to be desired, though lyrically, he did have some dope rhymes on Mobilarity. I did like 2 or 3 of the songs a whole lot. He had a joke called Sneakers I liked a whole lot too.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm but Vague, man, when you heard Mobilarity, man, what you thought, man?
I couldn't believe it, because it was so different. Like, to me, it wasn't like, yo, you got to have Ghost on here, right? It was just like, well, Ray's on here, so
you should be good.
It's gonna be dope. You know what I'm saying? And I just couldn't believe it, and it was the same mistake Boot Camp Click made.
Yep.
We like you with this sound. Like, this sound is so impactful, which is that RZA sound, and that maybe that Cuban Link sound. But we like that sound. And when he started to do, American Cream Team and this different style of production, it just did not work with Raekwon. Raekwon was still Raekwon, but it just made it seem like it wasn't the Wu you knew anymore, especially coming off of the 97 album, which had that Wu feeling.
Absolutely.
And same thing for Jizza with Beneath the Surface. It, even though there's a song or two here I like, it left a lot to be desired, because it just felt.
But you know what's funny though? Beneath the Surface, all music that the professional ratings, they hard on people. They gave him 4.5 stars.
I remember, yeah. Look, that made me go out and get it, because I was like, oh, okay.
I did like that joint Publicity a lot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He had some joints. So I always loved Jizzle's voice. I remember we brought Wu-Tang down to Greensboro back in like 97, I believe. And we was all outside chilling or whatever, man. And I had a good, dope conversation with Jizzle, man. He's a real cool brother at the time, you know what I'm saying? And, and Memphis was really cool too. And so, I wanted to say that, man, because, I don't know if you ever met any of the Wu-Tang guys, man, but all the ones that I have met during that time we had them down, the brothers was really cool. Even, Memphis was really funny as hell, man. And Jizzle was laid back. And cool. Donald was cool. I just want to say that because, it's always good to, when you like somebody's music and you come in contact, because some of these cats you meet, you be like, they suckers. You know what I'm saying? But my impression of these dudes, I liked them. You know what I'm saying? And but I liked Beneath the Surface probably a little bit more than you did. I thought it was dope, but again, you still coming after Liquid Swords. You know what I'm saying? So you got got Ray coming after Cuban Links. You got Jizzle coming out Liquid Swords, and some would say, those are 2 of the best albums out of the Wu-Tang discography catalog. You know what I'm saying? Some have said one of those was the best one. You know what I'm saying?
That's a frequent debate online. One person that because I can't remember if I met all of them or maybe 1 or 2 of them on some real quick stuff, but one person I do remember from the college years, and he also had an album in '99, Inspector Deck. Because remember, long awaited. Everybody's like, we heard the story about Uncontrolled Substance, or Controlled Substance, one or the other.
Something like that. Yeah, because he's one of the ones. Unfortunately, his music got flushed, right? Like,
Yeah, and he lost a whole album in the flood, and
damn.
then as if you watch the Wu-Tang American Saga, you see that there was a significant amount of time between when his debut would have dropped versus when it did, which was 99, and it wasn't good.
It
Like,
wasn't, man, but it's a tragedy, man, because we know how amazing Dick is, man, and can you just imagine doing that solo run of Wu Tang when you thinking about Lynx and Iron Man and all these albums? That album could have been better than those albums. We'll never know.
we'll
That's
never know.
that's the big mystery. It's like when Q-Tip lost a lot of music before. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, how great was that Dick album going to be, man? And so when you hear about that, then you hear his debut, it's going to have to blow you away because now we've heard all these classic Wu-Tang solo albums, and so
Right.
it would have had to be so good, and there were some good songs on there, but for his talent level, then yeah, obviously it left a lot to be desired, man.
Right.
Speaking of leaving a lot to be desired, what did you think about Black Moon's Warzone album? I think it had 2 turntables and a mic on there, and a couple other good songs, but that's coming out into the stage 6 years later.
And like Inspector Dead, a significant amount of time in between those 2 albums. I think 5 Foot went to prison.
Yeah, I think so.
Could have made an album. They wanted to wait for him. I think that was the story, but I did not like it, man. And maybe it was that, right? Maybe because I was in high school during Into the Stage, played it to death. It's a classic.
Yeah.
1999. I'm a year away from graduating college now, and I'm on a radio show, and it was one of those things where, and we've seen it in different eras in different years or whatever, where somebody from was hot in the mid 80s or was hot in the mid 90s, and all these things happen, and now you have all these new artists, and now they don't have the same pop to you that they had previously because the expectations have changed, the sound of music has changed.
Hey man, you gotta iron them clothes while the iron hot.
Right.
It's one of the things. Speaking again, I know we talked about a few minutes ago Biggie being your favorite, and Born Again and all that, but it also, man, the late great Pac had Still I Rise that came out in 1999 also, man. And I'm gonna tell you, man, like, I thought Still I Rise was pretty dope, man.
I think that is slept on like crazy.
Letter to the President, but yeah, man, like, they did whoever, and I can't remember right now.
That was an Outlaws album, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
that's one of the times where a project after someone passed away was put together perfect.
Yeah,
to me, like, it sound good. It sound like something Pac would have done while he was alive. That's why it sounded good. It didn't sound like, man, Pac wouldn't have picked that beat, or Pac wouldn't have sound. He wouldn't have. No, it sounded like, like Thug Life album. It sounded like something that he would have done with his guys. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that they did a good job. Oh, I didn't even bring up Missy Elliott had The Real World came out.
You talk about being on fire at a time.
On fire. I was just listening to last night, and I know it's not on the Real World album, which this is a dope album by Missy again. But side note again, man, rest in peace to the young lady from 702 and the Magoo, man. I was watching the video for Beat Me 911 last night here at the house because I'm obsessed with that song, and I'm obsessed with that beat.
I love that song.
It still sounds so futuristic the way Timbaland did that beat, and Missy Elliott is just amazing artist, man. Like, so much flavor and swag. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Missy Elliott too, because she follows me and she's retweeted some of my stuff before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never interacted with her, but that was just kind of cool seeing that. Then I hit her page and she's following me and stuff. And people see us, man. People follow us. People see the content that we all do because they know we love music. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was pretty cool. But again, I've never had any interaction with her, man. Big fan, man. She had the Real World in 1999, man. What can you say, man? She has singles. She has dope videos. What you want? She does it every time.
Yeah, it was so dope because she was so different when Super Duper Fly came out.
Yeah.
And this just took it even further for me because I remember, I kind of liked songs here and there, but I didn't buy
Yeah.
the album at the time, the
Right.
debut at the time. So when the second album came out and I'm hearing joints, didn't this one have the what's the joint with Nas on it?
Is it Hot Boys?
Hot Boys.
I believe Hot Boy. I
I'm
believe
telling
Hot
y'all, man.
Boy. I need to fact check that.
1999 is like Club Vegas for sure. Probably like my peak before I stopped going.
But I'm hoping people also hearing this conversation with us, man. Like, yeah, we're gonna talk about a couple of letdowns real quick and stuff as well. But as you can hear, we've named off some amazing albums. We're talking about Black on Both Sides, Things Fall Apart, Eternal Affairs, Slim Shady, The Chronic 2001. I mean, I can keep on going. There's a lot of great albums on here, man. Now, there's some old school guys that did drop, and we can talk about, EPMD did drop Out of Business. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was solid, but of course, I probably like Back in Business a little better that came out a few years before that. Personally, I thought it wasn't bad. Mace dropped Double Up. We didn't like that.
No.
Mace had already checked out mentally. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was pretty much an obligation with his contract. You know what I'm saying?
And Bad Boy was declining.
Bad Boy was declining because this is right before you had the emergence of Black Rob and G-Dep and all those guys. So they was kind of in limbo for a minute. Puff did drop, speaking of Bad Boy, Puff did drop that Forever album, but I didn't listen to it like that. But he sold records.
Yeah, the thing with that Forever album, I remember back then when I got it, I was like, there's some fantastic features on here. Like,
yeah,
like Beanie had a dope feature on there. Like it was that, but it became very forgettable quick.
And that's what happened. So another thing real quick with the South, Goody Mob had World Party. You know what I'm saying? And they were still doing their thing. I'm gonna shoot off a few more to see what your thoughts are, man. Shaheem had Man Child. Now I'm a big Shaheem fan, man, and to this day I still play that song Furious Anger with Big L. You know what I'm saying? Like I play that song a lot. You know what I'm saying? Shaheem's voice was changing at the time. I thought it was dope though. You know what I'm saying? Because he had the little boy voice on Lost Generation in 1996. But from 1996 to him dropping 3 years later, Man Child, he sounded different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He had this kind of grown man voice, man. But I thought Man Child was a dope album. You remember Man Child?
I do. At the time I hadn't heard it. I think you had it as a recommendation on That Time in Hip Hop, and I went back and
I did have it as a recommendation.
Yeah.
I did have it as a recommendation. So Beatnuts had Musical Massacre. You know what I'm saying? They had that joint.
And I had Watch Out Now on it, right? And all of that, Off the Books and all that.
I thought was that Stone Crazy? Stone Crazy in 1997, I believe, had that. Because that's when the murders of Pun. I think Pun was on Stone Crazy first. Speaking of Beatnuts, look at my shirt. I have Beatnuts right here.
Right.
I have the Beatnuts, I have Public Enemy.
Public Enemy, Ice-T.
What else I got? I got a couple of people on that. Dr. Dre, of course. I'm a big Dr. Dre fan. Y'all know I don't allow no Dr. Dre slander too much, or I don't let James Todd Smith get slandered too much either. So let's just be clear. But yeah, man, those are some other sleepers, man. And I was trying to see. Now, look, you know what? Some big singles. Jay-Z had Can I Get Her and Hard Knock Life was still pumping in 1999, believe it or not. Because it came out at the end of 98. So yeah, big singles, man. You had Changes by Tupac, Got Your Money by ODB because Nigga Please came out. You know what I'm saying? Everything is Everything by Lauryn Hill because her album came out at the end of 98. You Got Me with the Roots. My Name Is by Slim Shady, man. Like, man, this was a big year, man.
You know what? Like I was looking at all these albums. I was listening to that playlist. And then I was trying to like contextualize like what 99 was when you look at all of it.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the biggest years in hip hop commercially.
Yeah.
Because everybody was selling.
But it still had balance.
Right. It had balance, but everybody was selling. You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't Busta had the single from
Busta had the joint.
Janet.
with Janet. That was a big single, man. What's it gonna be, right?
Yeah, what's it gonna be? Was in the clubs on the radio.
Not About Nature had Jamboree. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
That was a big joint right there, man. Oh, another quick side. I was talking about selling, just so people know again. I Am sold 470,000 copies the first week. I just want to say that again, just so y'all know. First week, Nas I Am 470,000 records. Jay-Z sold 462,000 records the first week of Volume 3.
And both of those are certified gold at that number.
Certified that number, man. Just letting y'all know. Again, DMX 698,000 copies for Then There Was X, and then he came back about 2 years later with the Great Depression and went multi-platinum again.
Yeah.
Just so y'all understand the significance of X real quick. Rest in peace to X. I love DMX. I'm a big fan of DMX, man. So just letting y'all know that. Just making sure any of I said about G Code. I just want to make sure I'm not missing that. Still I Rise was 408,000 records. Pac.
Yeah, Pac was a beast.
Was beasting. Right. Oh, and for my underground heads, real quick, because somebody might be in the comment section later when this is posted. But what about MF Doom? Yes, Operation Doomsday did come out in 1999. Yes, I love it. Yeah, I still play the song The MC, the MC on there, the mic or something like that. I love that song on there, man. So yeah, MF Doom obviously has a cult following. He was very talented. Rest in peace, MF Doom, man. I actually went back, man, and I really listened to Operation Doomsday, probably more than that Mad Villain joint, man. Now I like both of them a lot, man, but yeah, Operation Doomsday got some joints on it, man.
It does. You know what's so dope about that? You just see the levels when you think about how people talk about these artists and the pedestal they on and how they were all rocking at the same time, no matter what level they came in at. Like you got MF Doom coming out. Most people don't know at this time that this is Zev Love X from what you call it. Damn, why is it slipping my mind? The group. KMD. KMD. And it's just dope. But like I said, you know, I'm doing a radio show, and the radio show I did was an underground show. So there's a lot that we mentioned that wasn't getting played on that show. Mm-hmm. This was one that was rocking. I remember around that time, I was not feeling it because I was like, yo, this dude just like rambling with the bars. But I like the production a lot.
Right.
It grew on me over time because I mean, I ain't one of them cats where I just know everything's gonna be dope first time I hear it, you know. But yeah, damn, I forgot Operation Doomsday came out. Yeah,
Operation Doomsday came out, and again, people go back now. He was kind of brilliant with the way he did some of his production, the way he did some of his verses. And Mos Def said that's his favorite rapper, and I can get it. And if you go back now and listen to a lot of his stuff, he really just say that. And it was just something special about Doom. I can't front. Even that joint he did on De La Soul album. What's the name of that song he did with De La Soul, man? The joint goes hard. Somebody it was years later on the De La Soul grind date, I believe. It might have been on grind.
Cocaine Flow.
Yes.
Zoom on that one? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That song is stupid, man. I know I'm way off subject, but we talking about Doom. So, you know, for anybody who ever heard that song with De La Soul, check that out, man. Rock Cocaine Flow. That joint is hard, man. You know,
there is one that I don't think we mentioned. Redman and Method Man, Blackout.
And listen here. I have it. So Redman and Method Man, Blackout sold 254,000 copies the first week, people. And then you got to understand, the Hard Knock Life tour was rocking all the way through 1999. You know what I'm saying? I went to the concert, and that's Jay-Z and DMX headlining with Redman and Method Man opening up. Ja Rule was there. Benny Siegel came out and did the freestyle. All this. As you can see, all these guys were selling a bunch of records at the time.
Was this also the year 1999 of the Up in Smoke tour? Or was that 2000?
I think the Up in Smoke might have been a year later, 2000.
Okay.
So the Hard Knock Life tour in 1999 is the one I went to. They came here to Greensboro. And I was still living in Greensboro at the time. You know what I'm saying? And real quick about that, seeing all those guys, I didn't even have a ticket. I lived down the street at the time from the Coliseum. I drove up there to see if somebody was selling tickets. This dude was walking out, was like, man, something happened, and I got to go. You can have this ticket, man. Give me like $20. I was like, all right. Now I didn't know what kind of seat it was. It's only $20. He gave me
Right.
the ticket. I gave the dude $20. So you know how you walk in, they open one part. I kept on walking. They open another part. I kept on walking. I was on the floor, man. I was like, for $20. Something happened. This dude had to go. He was desperate. He was like, man, $20. I gave him $20.
Wow.
I'm down there, X right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought that was the dopest time, man. I was like, wow, they still opened the gate, let me through the last little thing. I was like, wow, I'm in here. You know,
like, damn, these VIP tickets.
I mean, passing the weed. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it was wild, man. But yeah, man, Meth and Red came out, and that was, you know, it was dope to see them together because we had got a sample of that on the show soundtrack by How High. You know? And then especially the Eric Sermon remix.
Right.
Fly, Robin, fly. You know, that was woo. That was the one.
You know what's crazy about that? Like that whole Month of the Man thing kind of happened like right before I went to school. And my first year at Morgan State, the show tour came to Morgan for homecoming. Which had Redman and Method Man, and they did How High. It was crazy. But with the Blackout album, the Rockwaller.
I mean, that's a staple in the club. We was in the clubs. You was like me. We was in the club. And when Rockwaller came on, it was bananas.
Crazy, man. Like, ridiculous.
And they had the song, was it You on there? Was it or
You? Yeah, they played that.
They had joints, man. Now, obviously, when you putting together the 90s, Redman and Method Man, you know, I'm thinking we getting 5 mics. Well, we didn't get 5 mics, but we got a solid album with 2 big club bangers on it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at it, man. You know, for a hip hop purist, I want to hear 5 mics type level. But you know what? I'm not mad at it, man. It was successful. I think it ended up going platinum or something like that. They toured with various people. They were always dope on stage, and it served its purpose, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, I'd be remiss also. You know, I don't go out and buy greatest hits albums too much. You know what I'm saying? But in 1999, man, the Decade of Gangstar came out. And let me tell you, that double CD Decade of Gangstar.
It's that joint is comparable to how people felt when the best of Earth, Wind, and Fire came out back in the days. Like this is just straight. This is an album unto itself.
Yeah, man, that's true.
That's how this Gangstar. It's like you know how sometimes there's a greatest hits. You go look at the track listing, like, nah, they ain't got such and such on it.
Yeah, but that kind of suck, man. I can make a greatest hits better.
I can make a better greatest hits, man. Full clip had everything, and it had new songs. You know what I'm saying?
No complaints, man. Like there's really nothing to add to full clips from Gangstar, man. Like they did a fantastic job. Whoever put them songs together in that double CD, they did a fantastic job with it, man. And before we wrap up 1999, man, Snoop Dogg did drop No Limit Top Dog. I did see that.
Yes, and this was the album that caught my attention because I heard Bitch Please in the club, and I was like, yo, this sounds like old Snoop. Like, what's this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was different joints on there, man. And, you know, Snoop was in a good place at the time because he was so glad to be away from death row. You know what I'm saying? And with someone who he still talks about to this day, that Master P really gave him some jewels, really mentored him, gave him financially what he felt like he was worth, also helped him and his wife get a house, everything. He talked a lot about Master P, man. Shout out to Master P as well, man, because, I mean, I know we did an episode that time of hip-hop about Master P. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, guys, we've been giving flowers for years. You know what I'm saying? And we show love to, you know, Vegas is a New York guy. I'm from South. You know what I'm saying? We connected years ago, and we show love to every region, every era and time period, and there is no favoritism. You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk. Vegas will tell you the same thing. He's from Brooklyn. I'm from North Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's a hip hop thing, man. We both grew up around the same eras and have different experiences, but also have similar experiences without being in the same spot. And that's the beauty of like social media and all the stuff we're doing, just to chop it up with different people. Because usually, you know, you got to go to college or something like that to kind of mix and mingle with people from different regions, unless you get locked up in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, and I tell people to expand your listening, man. That's the reason why I picked certain years to talk about as well, and so I can debunk a few things. And let's talk about some amazing music that came out. And we talked about people tonight from the South, from the North, from the West, you know what I'm saying, who all dropped quality music, making 1999 a great year. We talked about Slim Shady and Dr. Dre. They two projects is the reason why Aftermath was able to sustain, the reason why 50 Cent, he's a mogul in media now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But 50 Cent might have still been making, you know what I'm saying, underground joints if it wasn't for the Slim Shady LP and the Crown of 2001 being successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things change in hip hop if these things don't pop off. What if Guerrilla Warfare don't pop off for the Hot Boys? You know, what if G Code would have flopped and it's the end of the Hot Boys? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things could have happened during this year, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't. What if Operation Doomsday was big for underground people? That's why a couple years later you can get Mad Villain. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. It's just a lot of ways to look at stuff, man. If Ja Rule don't pop off, Murder Inc. don't pop off with Vinny Vici bombs. Right. They may not get another chance. There might not be any more Ja Rule, which means Ashanti might not ever been Ashanti.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's how important these years are. Every year has some importance for the culture, man, and some bigger than others. And man, 1999 Vegas was a big year, bro.
Yeah, it was, man. And again, like when you just think about all the albums we mentioned, the hits, club, underground, west, south, whatever, music from Philly, everywhere, and everybody kind of doing numbers also at this time. Previously, there was a time where it was an exclusive club for selling records. The further you go back, the smaller that list gets of rappers being out and doing some serious numbers. And it was one thing I wanted to say was when Big died in 97, right? Even though in 98 we got DMX and we got a lot that was new, like we said before, his death and Pac death was so fresh that we were kind of going through the motions, right? We knew joints was hot, but it was still kind of a residue of that moment of 96 and 97. 99 felt like this is what's coming out on the back end of that dark time because it felt like it was energetic. Like you said, you got Slick Rick and Rakim dropping albums.
EPMD.
Yeah, EPMD.
MC8.
Right? You got new people. You know what I'm saying? Like it just.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that because you sparked my memory again to say people talked about this 1997, the start of the shining suit era. We're talking about 1999. As damn near feels like we're going to the 2000s with, man, with Fist in the Air, man. Great music, great vibe, variety in hip hop. So, So again, and this DJ, I don't remember his name, and if I did remember his name, I wouldn't even say it. He has a nice little platform, and we went in it years ago because he was extra, but he was so stuck on this shining suit thing. And I'm like, dude, it wasn't an era, it was a year. And you can say, okay, well, what about the videos and the production after that? Man, by the time 1999 came around, does it sound like to me that the shining suit era was affecting Black on Both Sides, internal affairs, sound bombing, and all this guerrilla warfare for the Hot Boy? Man, it was a thing of the past to me because we was already on something else, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And Mace dropped an album, and it wasn't it.
And it wasn't it. Puff dropped an album. It wasn't it. Double Up and Forever both came out in 1999. People didn't give a shit anymore. They was on to other stuff. Prince Among Thieves came out with Prince Paul. I ain't even mention that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Nas, Jay-Z, all these guys were still popping off. The West Coast was still popping off. Corrupt, MCA, Too Short, Shining Suit. Yo, man, it's exaggerated some. Okay? Bad Boy kept the clubs popping. Me and Vegas was the type of niggas in the club. It kept the club popping. It didn't change hip hop. It didn't hurt hip hop. Same track masters y'all hate made some dope music. Made Ill Street Blues for Cool G Rap back in the day.
Right.
Do your homework. You know what I'm saying? It made Ghetto Quran for 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? What are we talking about, people?
You know what's crazy about that? I think a lot of people when they, and it tends to happen, right? Because it happens, like you said at the start of this show, like with sports, right? To some of y'all out there, Michael Jordan only played 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan been swept. He been bounced out the first round. Like, it has happened. It's okay though.
It's
He's
okay.
still a legend in the game, and it's the same thing with hip hop. Hip hop was young. We talking about 50 years of hip hop in 2023. Hip hop was hella young in 99 and
Hell
97. You know, we were just trying to find our way, and that's what's so dope about 99, and maybe that's what it is, right? The variety we have today. 99 might have been the first time we actually got a glimpse of that variety on a scale where you can be over here and just get the Gangstar joint and get, Ray's new album and stuff like that, but then rock with Missy and
yeah.
and also, like you said, with Dr. Dre album, a lot of people felt like Snoop was back too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because prior to that, he had Doggy Style, but you also had his debut on No Limit, which wasn't that great. But like I said earlier, he had Bitch Please with Exhibit, and then he was all over this Dr. Dre album. Corrupting Them was back. Like, it was a different kind of energy in '99.
It's a different type of energy, man. And like I try to always explain to people, you gotta do the knowledge. Sometimes don't just listen to narratives, man, because a lot of narratives happened with a lot of writers and magazines back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it happened. Some of these articles written by one person, and that person carries some weight in some big publication, and all of a sudden that's the gospel. But people
Right.
like always fought those narratives. I've been fighting these narratives for 25, 30 years. This ain't nothing new to me. But before this, I was doing this shit on MySpace and everywhere else. Ain't nothing changed. I hate narratives. People know that. If you follow me on Twitter, you shoot a narrative by me, I'm going to shoot it down. You know what I'm saying? Come with some facts, man. We try to talk facts here. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, 1999 was amazing, man. Vague, man. Talk about some of the stuff you got going on, man, because, I've been peeping some of your new things out, man. I really love what you're doing, bro.
Yeah, man. So I have a weekly podcast called Hip Hop Now Podcast, available on YouTube in video form, but also you could, if you do audio, it's also available in audio form. Last year, because it was 50 years of hip hop, because originally I was going to stop because I had been doing it for so long that I was just kind of like, I'm just started feeling like, a job, but a lot of people didn't want me to stop. So I started to bulk up the video side of it, trying to get to 500 subscribers. So what you do, you add more content. So I added a series that, when me and Tone was doing that time in hip hop, off camera, we would look at each other tapes that we had in the crib.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I was like, I need to just do something with this. So I have a series called Tale of the Tapes, where I take cassette tapes, and it's not just the ones that's behind me. I got a whole box full over there, and I talk for them real quick, 2-minute segment. There's some nostalgia, there's some context for the time, like we're saying now. The last episode I did was Heavy D's Blue Funk cassette. Back then, I was a big Heavy D fan. Sometimes as a fan, you forget how big of a fan you were, because when Heavy D dropped, I would go buy it.
Love
I didn't care what it was. Like, new Heavy D, Nothing But Love, got it, because I got that back here too. But yeah, man, it's just a series, for some nostalgia, a little bit of history, sometimes some humor, just to coincide with that. Like I did a episode on Father MC's Close to You album. And I remembered instantly, as soon as I grabbed the tape, I was like, I was a Father MC fan. Like,
hey, man, I liked it, man. I think Jodeci started out singing background for him.
Yeah, Mary J too.
Yeah. If you do for me,
Right. That's the first time I saw. I was like, damn, who's that? Sure,
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's really along with that and some other segments I got coming up, including more of that time in hip hop. It's just a way to do the things that we always do. We love talking about hip hop. We love like telling the truth about hip hop and not revising history. And even when me and Tone did that time in hip hop, that was the whole basis of it, was to let's really talk about the history of this music or this artist or this person. So every time when Tone is battling y'all dudes online because y'all want to act like MC Hammer didn't have a imprint in hip hop,
Right.
we did a whole show on it, and it's nothing but facts.
The receipts are out there, people. We have the receipts.
Right.
I'm gonna start back posting them all too, because I really think some people will really, maybe new followers that you have and new followers that I have, will really enjoy some of those old episodes, man, because it's called That Time in Hip Hop, so it's timeless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, we're gonna do that again, man. Some new ones, and I'm also starting back, you know, posting some of those because I want people to see them. You know what I'm saying? Because I think so much information was covered, and we had so many people contacting us like, "Yo, man, really like those episodes, man." So we definitely want to do that again, man. And also, man, please follow Veg platform, and also you see it on the screen, VegasWorldInc at Twitter. Also, man, yo, appreciate you, my brother. Episode 55, man, 1999. Hold on for a minute, bro, so we can chat real quick, man. One love, people. Peace.